I am going to try to hit a museum today. I haven't been for months, actually. So I'm hoping there's something good which isn't too distant from Marylebone, where I have to eat for lunch. And I see that there's actually there's a Sean Scully exhibition, so I can check that out. I can't make it to the Tate. It's going in the wrong direction. I'll do that. Have I ever mentioned that I think that photography is at an existential dead end? Largely because anybody and everybody can engage in it. It is exhausted its artistic and creative possibilities. And therefore, when you look at a photograph, even if it's at the most exalted museum or art gallery, it confers no enlightenment or enrichment of the human experience anymore. The tube is actually it's really clean, really well maintained. It's kind of a miracle, actually. The truth is, I'm still in sweatpants in my brain, so I'm not really ready to have a chic lunch at the Ivy, but that's what I'm going to have to do in 5 minutes. Mercifully, it's really quiet today because it's Easter Monday, which takes the unpleasant edge off of being in a big city today. My friend is building the biggest insect feedstock plant in the world in Indonesia, and I haven't seen her for a while, so we're having a big catch up. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, I swear. We're at the Ivy, but we're sitting outside and it's a glorious day. Yeah. Okay, this is what you get. This is what you get. Oh my God, these are actually real. This is, which is, you know, quite right? This is my chic friend. She's never badly dressed, ever. It's true. It's been. Look how beautiful and civilized this food is. And look how these are very reasonable portions, because in Serbia, we would eat 2 pounds of food per person per meal. It was insane. That was really fun. And it made me think that what I'd like to do is write an article about the future of meat, where insect protein probably comes up on top of the list because of its superiority in many respects. More important, though, it was amazing to catch up with my friend who's this crazy super powerhouse business person who's always taking these giant, in this case, $500 million flyer on these extremely innovative, almost crazy businesses. And she is now going to go back to Indonesia, where she's basically been functioning as a foreman on the building of this insect breeding plant. Hard to believe. She's usually wearing designer clothing, so that's really a change of pace for her. The real question is, do I actually have enough time to hoof it over to the National Gallery and check out this Sean Scully exhibition in a meaningful way? I'm going to try. Besides the fact that it's as congested as Hong Kong, I really dislike Oxford Circus because it's the throbbing heart of globalization. The sky is moving. It's always a treat to be here on the plaza outside of the National Gallery. It's one of the most interesting and dynamic street theater scenes, basically, in the world. Jackpot, I came in at the entrance the closest to the Sean Scully exhibition. Perfect. This exhibition is called Sea Star because it's inspired by Turner's Evening Star, which is pictured within this doorway and flanked by these 2 paintings, which were painted in response to the incipient abstraction. Okay, I definitely got in a big eyeful and a big brainful from that exhibition. I'm very glad I went to see it. The paintings themselves are very painterly and beautiful. I wasn't going to expatiate in this center of any of those exhibition rooms in that hushed reverential atmosphere, but it was very interesting to see those paintings, which in and of themselves are pretty gorgeous, but you wonder sometimes if abstraction and its great exponents are actually carried more by their exegesis, their explanation, their words, their eloquence, more than the actual substantive content of the painting itself, or its excellence, or its mastery over technique or craft. So I think that Sean Scully actually is one of those painters who potentially reveals the rip-off of contemporary. Here's the thought and the big takeaway and the big question mark that this leaves with me. If these paintings were not so brilliantly explained, if Scully was less thoughtful and provocative in the impetus behind his paintings, would we actually find them to be great, or would they simply be the work of a third grader? And I think that's the giant question mark hanging over a lot of contemporary art. On a positive note, I was able to take in the fullness of that entire exhibition in pretty much record time, and it hasn't compromised my schedule one jot. I'm going to that restaurant, but you know how you usually don't wander past your actual destination? Today I'm actually going to walk beyond where I need to go because this building has piqued my curiosity. It looks like it's part of a university. Does anyone? So I accosted somebody in the street and just asked them, and he told me that this isn't university architecture, but that the University of Newcastle has buildings on this street, weirdly enough. This is my favorite Chinese restaurant, and it has the added benefit of being next to Liverpool Street Station practically. I'm with my cousins from Singapore. Come on, I'm not going to get Sam in the picture. He's hiding. We're at old place, my old place. Okay, look how big this bowl is.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
It is absolutely vast. So Sam is saying, I'm going to have to take some of this food home. This is fish. This is Sichuan fish. It's my favorite dish. For the uninitiated, this looks absolutely vile, kind of like green swamp slime, but should taste absolutely ambrosial.
Whatever you want.
I'm now driving through deepest Suffolk. I'm going north
every day. I promise you that.
To spend the afternoon in around Aldborough and Woodbridge.
I'm a
Suffolk.
big believer in.
It's a beautiful day. Okay, here's my lunch companion. Oh, sorry. Don't mind me. I like to do that. But I want to. This is Jack Pescod. Look, see how he looks like George Clooney. Hold on. Okay. I'm at the Unruly Pig. See, it has unconventional artwork such as this Mickey portrait. We had a great lunch here. Now, I'm not sure where Old Jet is, but I'm in a very industrial area. It looks like almost like an airport hangar zone. Okay, let's see where this is going. I'm not sure. Okay, that's obviously why it's called Old Jet, this area. All these structures, they're very interesting looking. There's obviously, these are some kind of hangars. They have this strange geodesic dome type wooden structure at their entrances. Finally, this is Old Jet now, and guess who lives here or is working here? Talvin Singh, and that he's the occasion for this foray into this extremely bizarre corner of Suffolk. Yeah, what is this place? Okay, so Calvin just explained this used to be a former U.S. air base during the Gulf War, and actually now it's been created. It's now a creative hub.
And then Victor was so excited. She kept on looking at others. She said, "There's nothing else available." Yeah. It's one of those, and you can tell actually because there's some houses there where they definitely just bought land, and then they built like really modern. To kind of flexi audio.
Yeah. But in a different way.
Yeah.
Like so that I mean, you don't think of it as being a series of bits. Yeah. It's visualized basically. Yeah. This is Talvin's studio.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so honored to be able to look at it. It's astonishing. So you have several of these spaces, right?
And then and any time.
Yeah, but I think we should schedule it so that she leaves when we go to Iran. There's a crow on top of that tree. Can you see it? It's actually giant. Yeah. I'm just filming it, but it'd be a stunning photo. It's gigantically disproportionate. The good thing about living in England is that nowadays I really don't need to wear a jacket unless literally there's frost on the ground. So I'm used to being cold. Cold is just my homeostatic base state these days. This is my favorite. This is when we're walking through the wood.
And if you want to get the bluebells, you look further up on the left and go up there.
All right, well, it's okay. I'm just whatever. Documenting the fact that we're walking. Yeah,
It's not very good.
Okay, well, you choose a bell then. That's an archetypal morphology and show me. John just said these are not the most beautiful shape, but they're good enough. This is what we're talking about. This bluebells?
You get the colour better this way because of the...
Okay, he's right. I'm turning around. Being intelligent here with the light shining on the bluebells. Instagram story. Did you do it? Did you do it?
I did do it. I did do it.
Very good. Okay. We're having sausages. And then John likes to dip his in acrylamide. He likes his sausages burnt with a huge side helping of cancer. It's true. Today's big undertaking is to make a film about St. Helena Hospice, which is the leading hospice in this catchment area, serving 4,000 people in Suffolk. So before I go over to the hospice and interview the CEO and the medical director, I'm going to actually interview John, and he's going to tell me what he knows about hospices or not, and why he should donate to a hospice. I caved in and I paid for my Medium subscription, $50. It's well worth it. Everybody I know, I refer to this website because it's the only place for long-form analytical writing. Look how beautiful it is.
No stranger to sectarian violence.
These fields of rape, they're horrible name, but it's still gorgeous.
People are Buddhist. The rest are split between Hindu.
Okay, I have arrived at St. Helena Hospice. I'm here to do a video to assist the fundraising to add beds to their hospice center based in Colchester, which is where I live. This is Jill Scully. She's in charge of this fundraising exercise, and she's a total powerhouse within that third sector and the nonprofit world in the UK in general. The objective of the videos that I'm making is actually to do a hospice 101, because most people don't know what a hospice is about. So as I said, I had actually literally interviewed John, and he told me like what he does and doesn't know about a hospice. I shut my phone off for 2 hours because the taping is something like this is very intense. The entire atmosphere is a hushed and serene environment, so I didn't want to disturb it by Instagramming here and there. But suffice it to say, I've been very honored and lucky to film 2 people running the hospice who are among the most articulate, passionate, third sector executives I've ever met in my life. And it's been a super inspirational experience, which I'll share with you later through the video itself. So I'm still here. I'm not going to lie, I'm completely drained, and I'm going to have to go. The editing for this is going to be like a gargantuan task. If you don't have the context for that last clip, I'm at a hospice and I'm learning about what hospices do. I have been learning as I have been involved with this hospice called St. Helena's, which is the biggest in East Anglia. Basically, it helps 4,000 people a year, for lack of a better way to put it, live their end of lives as best and comfortably and peacefully and happily as they can. I founded an environmental NGO a while back, and it influenced my life permanently, because when you're involved in something like that, which is not profit making, your motivations are entirely different. And that's one of the reasons that I encourage you to do something with a charity or an NGO, but to engage civically and give something of yourself to a cause or an organization that you care about, because once you've done it, you can never turn the clock back, and it will forever shape your life and your outlook. And it has since, I would say, 2009, when I have started getting involved in this kind of stuff. It's really changed my life. Okay, this is what I've been talking about, and this is where I've been all afternoon. I've been at St. Helena's Hospice, which supports 4,000 people in North Essex, East Anglia.
Somehow, the man you're up against, if it's a great man like this, drops his level consistently.
It's a crazy, beautiful, sunny, gorgeous English countryside day. I've actually gotten out of the car because this is the first time this season I'm going to capture my favorite view on my drive home of our village church. And I do this all the time. I get out of the car and I look at this. I am such a great wife. I'm always buying stuff for John. Now, of course, don't mind the fact that it's always with John's own credit card. But this is a book by our guest coming to dinner this weekend. Sometimes you can do the right thing, like eat really nutritiously and well and good for yourself and pursue a regime of self-care, or sometimes you can just say fuck it and eat what you feel like. And in this case, I'm having instant noodles. Today I woke up and, well, this frequently hits me like a ton of bricks. Have you ever thought about how powerful and animating force of vitality the human sex drive is? I mean, I wake up every morning and I think, wow. I say that because every day I wake up next to my husband, and it's not that I necessarily want to jump on top of him and copulate. It's that the chemistry between us, or that I feel towards him, is so powerful that it suffuses my day with vitality and optimism, and propels me forward. It makes me look forward to my life, I would say. And I think that's the true power of the human sex drive when somebody is in love. That's why I say all the time that when John passes away, I don't know how quickly follow suit, but I definitely will, because I'll become almost instantly physiologically impaired from it on a day-to-day basis, and I know it. I am driving to the train station and I'm listening to an unbelievably riveting podcast called Invisibilia. It's about incel culture, and it's an interview with an incel, and you need to be worried about this group. Before I headed off to the train station, because I have to spend the day in London, I actually downloaded a podcast on NPR called Invisibilia, and I chose an episode entitled The End of Empathy, and this is so weird because of what I was posting this morning. That podcast is about, actually an interview with an incel, an involuntary celibate, which of course, which is totally crazy that I was talking about the importance to human civilization of the human sex drive. Here's my point. I couldn't believe first that out of all the podcasts I could have downloaded, I picked the one which is about the denial, rejection of the human sex drive. But anyway, it's an incredibly gripping podcast. I am in the middle of it, and it's very, very disturbing, especially because Sam actually is going to engineering school, where I'm not going to beat around the bush. There are a lot of incel types. Anyway, incels are a cause for concern because through the loss of hope and despair that they begin to experience, they sometimes resort to violence and become radicalized. So I bought a cheap ticket. I probably could have gamed the system and gotten onto it, but I just can't bring myself to do something like that. Therefore, I'm going to take a later train, and I'm going to use the ticket that I actually bought. I am going to make light of something really weird, which has always bothered me. Okay, who buys and uses these footies? They actually never work. But have you ever thought that all the things we do out of a sense of just kind of hygiene compunction? The week always has at the very end something really, really fascinating. It's a long article usually that summarizes. In this case, it's about China's thirst for milk, which is going to cause huge food security issues for the country. I see why the Ivy restaurants are so popular. They're extremely good looking. I personally am not a fan of the food, but it's hard to, it's a bomb-proof chic environment. I'm early, so I decided to take the bus, sit on the double-decker, and I got off early, and I'm going to walk around. And this is one of my favorite things about living in London, and also being semi-retired. This is beautiful St. Luke's Church. I'm in Chelsea. I am never in Chelsea. As far as I'm concerned, there's not much in Chelsea except a crazy shit ton of French people. Not a surprise that the church is absolutely stunning. But it's just one of those things that you never do. You just live in a place and you walk by something again and again and again and again and again. I'm also about to do something else, which I never do. I'm going to sit here in the park and just people watch. I'm going to watch a tennis match on tennis TV and just enjoy being outside. It just, every time I come here, it just strikes me like, it hits me like a ton of bricks what a rich and pleasant place London is, and what crazy wealth the first world and OECD countries enjoy. It's insane. Okay, take a look at the name of this restaurant. It's pronounced Fat Fuck or Fat Fuck, depending on who you are. If you're an ignorant Western person, you'd probably say Fat Fuck. It's my lunch companion. See how I don't actually reveal their identity sometimes because they're not as handsome
Pixels.
as Michael Paul here. Okay, Okay, hard to believe I'm in yet another Ivy restaurant. I just can't believe it. I've done a whirlwind tour of every Ivy restaurant in London, literally this week. Okay, now his man of mystery out, his hat
I hope this is
and sunglasses have been doffed. Yeah, no, you look fantastic. Okay, now his man of mystery out, his hat
I hope this is
and sunglasses have been doffed. Yeah, no, you look fantastic. We're at Saatchi Gallery, and I have no idea if there's anything in here worth seeing at all. But every other museum was 20 miles away, so here I am. We're gonna see. I also want to tape an aside about the Ivy restaurants. Please, if you're my friend, let's not go to one, because I just think the food is incredibly mediocre, and no matter how Tony and high-end and chic they appear, to me they smack of chain restaurants. Okay, Saatchi Gallery. I've always been impressed by its ability to put on exhibitions which basically scream for social media posting, and this is no exception. Okay, Saatchi Gallery. I've always been impressed by its ability to put on exhibitions which basically scream for social media posting, and this is no exception. Well, talk about commercial exploitation. You're not allowed to go into that thing unless you buy an exhibition guide for £2, which really strikes me as pretty mercenary and exploitative, to be perfectly frank. This is a stunning photographic print by artist Pierre Caro. There's a series of 5 such prints in this gallery. This exhibition at Saatchi Gallery it's pretty horrible in terms of its curation, with these paintings with that sculpture and these stunning photographs. I now know I generally don't come to Saatchi Gallery. This feels like they're renting out the galleries on a paid, it's a higher rental basically. That's what it looks like to me. I now know I generally don't come to Saatchi Gallery. This feels like they're renting out the galleries on a paid, it's a higher rental basically. That's what it looks like to me. Oh my God, look at this. Okay, let's look at this theme. I'm not going to mince words. This is horrendous. All I can say about that is thank God it was free, because it was distinctly unsatisfactory as a quote-unquote art experience. Okay, this is my last chance to feel impressed by one of the exhibitions at Saatchi Gallery. And how do I feel about this? Oh my God, it's a bunch of plastic bags. I don't know if I don't think I really need to read the caption. Sam asked me if I'd like to actually finish all the rooms in the building so I could see all the exhibitions. He said, Mom, would you like to continue to be disappointed and complete your tour? Naturally, I declined. I said, let's go to Nando's. Okay, note to self, totally cross Saatchi Gallery off your list permanently.
No?
I'm not eating anything. This is Sam's favorite restaurant.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, we wouldn't say that. He'd prefer a Michelin-starred establishment, but this is good for just tiding him over between really, really expensive meals. This is Sam's typical meal. This is why I have to take him to Nando's, because I can't afford to feed him anywhere else. He gets 8 chicken thighs. 8 chicken thighs every time we come here. This is 22 pounds worth of chicken, basically. Am I walking around in parts of London that I never frequent ever? Now I'm in Notting Hill on Portobello Road. Okay, I'm here.
Oh.
And Mr. and Mrs. Bateman.
You want to get
Excited to go in. Always, I know it's going to be a treasure trove and crazy. Before I walk into Mr. and Mrs. Bateman, Sam said, Mom, how about I get a donut? I was like, can you get me a donut? I mean, I'm at Mr. and Mrs. Bateman. Very excited here to meet Ming. So the concept of Mr. and Mrs. Bateman is to take over a townhouse as if it was the residence of this fictitious couple named Mr. and Mrs. Bateman. But in fact what it is, it's a big showcase of products, artworks by 20 or 30 creative, artistic people. Some of them are merchants, some of them are fine art artists in this location at 2 Blenheim Crescent in Notting Hill.
To my friends, Karina. Hello. This is Meg and Joanne.
Look.
This is Vince. Hello.
Hold on one second.
friend,
Look at this
Anna.
outfit. Look at this outfit. Look at this outfit.
Joanne always says I need to get off of Instagram and
Yeah, I got unhappy tragic. I mean, I'm 46. Oh, 46. Oh my god. And now it's tragic. Anyway,
This chair is crazy. Love it.
and I'm now
You're in a boudoir. It's like a lady's bedroom.
well, I'm gonna try to pop by.
Do you know someone called Anushka? Yes, I do. Yes, well
Okay.
done. Okay, fine, well done.
Crazy about the sweater from Lime Green Bow. This is the work of a painter, Patrick Hughes, which is quite amazing as an optical illusion. Okay, I'm back in Colchester to get in my car. Really long day, a totally mixed bag. What an interesting, strange day, as usual. I called John. I said, you have to stay up until I get home, and he asked me to get, but he said, please, can you please pass by a gas station and get me a Mars bar? So I'm gonna do that before I get home. And I said, what do I get? Well, I'll tell you later. For my drive home, I'm gonna listen to the rest of this incredibly disturbing podcast about incels, about this incel guy. These are the things you have to do when you're completely in love with a chocolate addict. You have to just go and buy Mars bars and junk food in the middle of the night, or whatever you're doing, no matter how exhausted you are. This is my last jar, because I promised Sam I'd give him the last mini jar. John is getting dog collars for our dogs. He just asked me my phone number and my email address, my own husband. Okay, I'm gonna do a Kaya taste test with Sam. But there's no dairy in Kaya, just Kaya. Kaya's coconut egg jam with pandan leaf. I'm planning to cook all day, which actually, believe it or not, I am looking so forward to that. But first I have to change so that I don't smell like fried beef grease the whole day. Well, that's the problem for someone like me who absolutely avoids showering but loves cooking, so it's a tough balancing act between stinking from the kitchen and avoiding bathing. Okay, the moment I've been waiting for. Okay, these odds are almost even, favoring K slightly. Either way, I'm gonna end up crying whoever loses this match.
So, I've actually met Nishikori 3 times in those 18
I
months.
love this guy. No one understands that. I'm the only fan I know of Daniel Medvedev. Always love K because he's Asian. Just gotta love K.
Big team takes down the king of clay on the dirt. The Austrian with an astonishing big team takes down the king of clay on the dirt. The Austrian with an astonishing.
Is it okay to wear these slippers? Because I don't have those really cool chic ones that you promised you were going to buy me. And
I will buy them for you.
Can I wear these though for dinner? I mean, since I made an effort to look half decent. What's the date? It's almost May. Oh yeah, and we're having a fire. It's a pretty spectacular thing to have in May. Well, end of April. What's the date? It's almost May. Oh yeah, and we're having a fire. It's a pretty spectacular thing to have in May. Well, end of April. I'm not going to post this directly. I'm doing this surreptitiously. I just sat on one of the sofa cushions and I apologized to John for unpuffing it because every cushion in this house has been fluffed. Everybody's left. It was really fun. It was really relaxed and super convivial, gregarious, and I swear to God, probably the most talking that's been done in Suffolk this month. Time to clean up. We don't live in Hong Kong anymore. This is what happens. This is the aftermath. The aftermath of a dinner party. This is pretty trivial. John actually said he laid the table with a view to not having to hand wash all the glassware.
So, all right, well, if you're okay,
I want to do this
are
puzzle.
you going to work this morning? What are you going to do?
What are you quipping about this puzzle?
Dan, what are you going to
He
do?
said, John just said I'm not going to get much of this puzzle done unless I actually take it out of the box. A good point. I'm not going to do that puzzle. It's just such a huge commitment. I'm going to focus on writing a good Instagram post about the Batemans. That's what I'm going to do instead. Okay, for those of you who don't know what the Batemans it's a shoppable townhouse taken over by 3 curators who are an interior decorator, a visual artist, and a vintage clothing dealer. And they invite up to 30 people who are fellow creatives to showcase their wares in a shoppable townhouse. I bothered to mention this and even write about it because I feel really strongly that this is an antidote to the current state of consumer retail, which is basically least common denominator mediocrity. I don't promote and mention the Batemans because they're my friends. I mention the Batemans because it is a spectacular, dazzling, maximalist, extravagant, inimitable, unique showcase for retail. What do you do when your friend asks you to delete an Instagram post? Do you react like me and get instantly, incredibly, ferociously confrontational and question their vanity? One reason I story, well, I feel like I live and die by the same principles by which I story, which is that you're going to see my ugly, first, not just that I'm getting old, but also you may very well see that I am not always a nice person, that I'm riddled with as many foibles as anybody else, and that I don't really give that much of a shit about presenting a polished veneer to the public. I'm not saying by any stretch that this is a reasonable standard by which to treat other people necessarily, but I do like to test the principle, that principle of action and behavior in my interaction with other people. I'm not saying that I subject everybody to that game. I subject those people who put themselves out there on the game board according to those rules and see whether they are really willing to operate by them themselves. Part of me enjoys confronting people with their vanity and foibles. So I do things which hold a mirror up to that. And I wonder if they can actually, it's a test, obviously. This is the beauty of Amazon. This is going to be one of the themes of my book, how today we can actually buy anything from anywhere in the world, which in the past was impossible to obtain. This is the Kaya egg jam from Singapore. This is a spring garden. It looks really good. It's gonna start flowering next week. We're gonna start preparing it. John asked me to do some leaf painting with weed killer and some weeding tomorrow.
Comment espérer de meilleures sociétés? Il me semble très peu chrétien que d'espérer la souffrance d'autrui.
Oh. Ouvrez les yeux, mon ami, sur le genre humain.